Next up on WTV, COVID over winter break, this week's edition of My Life As, and an installment of Real Talk. WTV's Daily Update starts now. Hey there, Red Hawk Nation. Today is Friday, January 8th, and I'm Alyssa Murphy with today's Daily Update, brought to you by Wingspan TV. Winter break was different for most students, but for some it meant being quarantined. WTV's Trinity Williams has the story.
The COVID-19 pandemic has affected everyone in various ways and has changed many Americans' plans for the holidays. Over winter break, just around 84 million people traveled, which is around 34.4 million less than the year before. Usual celebrations and gatherings have been limited because of the virus.
So the way COVID-19 affected me over the break was I was quarantined the entire winter break because somebody in my family tested positive on Christmas Day, so that was a great Christmas present. I got to spend more time with my family, which was good, but it kind of sucked because none of my extended family could come in town. We couldn't see my grandparents or any of my cousins, which is something I look forward to during Christmas time. Hopefully next year we get to see them, and yeah.
With COVID-19 still taking a toll on usual events, Graham is ready to make plans for next year with her family. Reporting for WTV, I'm Trinity Williams.
Without people, there is no religion. And like most things, religion is something that can be passed on from one person to another. In this third and final part of a WTV special report, executive producer Cooper Regal continues his exploration of the world of teenagers and religion.
Whatever their religious beliefs, and whether or not someone has these beliefs, nothing can be learned without a teacher. For some people, this means doing things in their spare time, but for others, their entire profession goes into teaching different holy words.
So what drives me to do the work I do here at Chabad of Frisco is really the responsibility to leave the world a better place than it was when we came here. So we moved here to Frisco 5 years ago to open Chabad, which is one of the first Jewish establishments in the city. And we cater to all the physical and spiritual needs of the people that live here. I personally have a special focus on the youth and the children. That's what I do. I have a Sunday school and bat mitzvah club and different youth programming, teen groups. And the main goal and the main drive is to improve the world and improve the city that we came to and leave it a better place than when we came. And what motivates me every day is seeing the smile of the children as they come into religious school and getting the feedback from the parents about how much they love what they're learning and what they're doing, and really seeing how they make it part of their lives and how they bring it into their families and improve what's going on there as well.
Being on Young Life staff and kind of working in ministry, it's almost like a calling of sorts, of something that I think you would only do if you feel really called to it or feel like that's a really important thing in your life. I think it's so important to have people that are around you that are encouraging to you, and that I wish that I had more people in high school that I could look up to, or that would know me well and kind of lead me in different things. So as far as being a Christian or being with Young Life, I think that's a big part of what drives me to do the work that I do.
When I see the Indian background kids or Hindu kids getting raised here, sometimes they don't have the real story behind the religion or behind the culture, and since they are getting raised into foreign environment, it's kind of good to explain to them about the culture, the scriptures, and the religion, and that kind of drives me because that also allows me to learn about our own religion and scriptures.
When I was younger, obviously we grew up in America and American society. One of the things that affected us was our disconnection from God. And so when I went to study Islam and religion, then it connected me to God and recognized God and found purpose. And it changed my life in a lot of ways. So I thought, in the same way, if I could give this to every person I meet, every person that I come across, then hopefully he can connect to God and change his life in the same manner.
But something that comes with these teachings is the ability to adapt thousands of years of history to a new generation.
When I was raised, or even my wife, or even generally the people of my age or background, when we were raised in India, typically we were just imparted the things, and we never questioned or we never asked why this is and why this is not. But here, the younger generation, they ask you questions, why this has to be done a certain way, and you need to know the answers. You need to connect with them in order to have faith in you and make sure that they trust you, what you're saying is the correct, and which allow them to also remember.
The newer generation tend to believe in what they see in front of their eyes. And sometimes believing in God is believing in an unseen. And that takes a lot of effort to take their mind and belief away from something they see every single day or something they're told to something they can't see.
But students aren't the only ones learning, as the constant changes in today's society helps teachers learn more about the ones they're teaching as well.
Through my work, I see that every few years the world presents something new which people are attracted towards. And for every attraction, we have to find a new method. The lessons are not new, but you just have to find new methods to give the same lessons.
I think one thing that I've learned through the changing times and through my work is that though a lot of things are still the same, so many things are different too. Is that humans are still humans, like high school kids are still high school kids. Those circumstances have changed. I think, like I said, that with phones and social media and having more freedom or less freedom with parents and what the home life is like, all of those things affect how you operate as students. And yeah, I think that it's so important to recognize those things so that we're able to connect more and that kind of thing.
So I get a lot of people that come to me, and I'm kind of in a place where I work with older people and younger people. So I don't do exclusively youth or exclusively adults. I am kind of in between and do a little bit of everything. So we do get the classic complaint, I should say, from the older generation who's like, the youth is always on their cell phones and what's going to be of our younger generation, and all the complaints that I'm sure you've heard and everybody has heard about the younger generation. And I think to myself, our parents had the same complaints about our generation, and the grandparents had the same complaints about their generation, and that's just the cycle of the world. Is the older generation is complaining about the development and the advancements of the younger generation. We're all learning and adjusting to the changes of our times, but I think that in 20 years and 30 years and 40 years from now, it's just going to be a greater advantage that we've had. So once we learn how to manage and not to cut out, let's say, media or social media or technology from our lives, but how to really use social media and technology in a way that advances religion and the world and the social interactions with people to a place where we've never been to before. So I wouldn't say look at it as a negative advancement, but really just focus on the positive that will come from it, because the advancements in the world throughout generations has only led to positive impacts.
But when all is said and done, whether it's on the level of a small town or on a worldwide scale, these teachers have their own religious-related goals set in place.
I would love to see kids know the goodness and the freedom that comes with knowing Jesus and walking in their faith too and growing in their faith. And I hope that I can be a part of that, and I hope that Young Life can be a part of that. And that'd be a really, really cool outcome.
The big impact is that the kids should remember about their faith, their religion, the way of life, and hopefully they will pass it on to their next generation.
So the greatest impact that I wish to have and that we hope to have and that we strive for every day is actually not a global impact. It's really affecting the individual. So the Torah teaches that every Jew or every person comes down into this world for 70 or 80 years, which essentially is an entire lifetime, just to do one favor for another. And that could be a physical favor or a spiritual favor. So really the Torah teaches that our whole existence in this world is to assist others in their physical needs and their spiritual needs. So the greatest impact that I hope to have, and that as a community we hope to have, is to really assist and encourage the spiritual growth and the physical needs, if it comes to it, of each person in our community and in the city at large, to really just help them on a personal level and to bring joy into their lives and Judaism into their lives, and even one more mitzvah, one more good deed that will change the world for good.
The biggest impact I want to make in my work is connect everyone to God, but together with that, to create a very united society where people's hearts are connected, and because they're obeying God and understand that there's a higher power in front of them, they will stop causing corruption, etc. around the world and create a very loving world instead of a very hostile world that we have today.
Reporting for WTV, I'm Cooper Regal.
On this week's edition of My Life As, WTV takes a look into the life of track participant Maria Vidon.
With season coming up soon, we've really been focusing on going through our dynamic warm-up thoroughly, as well as hurdle and hip mobility and speed hurdles. Every day before we start our workout, we warm up with a few laps around the track, or indoors depending on the weather. Our dynamics can take up to 30 minutes, sometimes because we want to make sure we're going through the motions correctly and properly warming up to ensure we get the most out of our practice. Next, we do hurdle and hip mobility to improve our joint movement, which allows us to become more powerful and perform athletic movements more efficiently. After that, we did some speed hurdles to work on our stride and make sure we have proper form. This week has been pretty relaxed, but our workouts can be pretty intense. I'm really excited for season to start because Coach Gregory and Coach Bay are really great coaches, and they've been pushing us really hard.
On this week's edition of Real Talk, WTV's Madigan Gunya asked students about their New Year's resolutions.
Hey Redhawks, it's WTV's Madigan Gunya with this week's edition of Real Talk. This week we're going to be asking students about New Year's resolutions. What did you do for New Year's this year?
So I was just staying at my house with my parents and my grandparents.
Did COVID affect your New Year's plans?
COVID did affect my plans for New Year's. We were supposed to go to my parents' friend's house to just have a good time. That didn't end up happening.
I would say COVID did affect my New Year, but I still got to hang out with a few friends.
What are your New Year's resolutions?
My New Year's resolution was to get taller, but I've been wishing that for years now, so we'll see.
My New Year's resolution for this year is to remain positive and be grateful amidst the pandemic still going on, and to overall eat healthier.
Why do you think people make New Year's resolutions?
People make New Year's resolutions to have goals set for them for the new year, but people don't end up following them, so that's what happens. And yeah, I hope to have a good year.
I think people make resolutions at the beginning of the year since it's a fresh start, to kick off the year and have goals for themselves, but like me, a lot of people don't really follow them. It's just something that people normally try and stick to for a little while.
Reporting for WTV, I'm Madigan Gunya.
If you are looking for more from Wingspan, you can follow us at Liberty Wingspan on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our award-winning website, libertywingspan.com. That's it for today's Daily Update. This is Alyssa Murphy for Wingspan TV.